a sharp case, a sexual harassment or assault case, you described as one where your client was actually the victim of the system's misuse. Can you take me into that case?
Sure. I wish it was just one, but it's not. I can take you into the most recent one. So that service member had a complaint of sexual harassment, but it was sexual harassment that, according to let's just say the alleged victim said that there was touching involved in the complaint of sexual harassment. So when that happened, obviously you've got command investigators looking into the sexual harassment. You've got them saying time out, and then they pass the touching over to CID. So then you've got CID coordinating now with the Office of the Special Trial Counsel, which is, just stick around, Zane. They'll create a new acronym, and Congress will fund a new program to experiment with, sexual harassment, assault response prevention, which they did in this case. So all these things come down unfavorably for my client. And this is a client that was transitioned to me late in the game. And it was transitioned to me by an attorney who went back on active duty. So he was a civilian practitioner in the reserves, went back on active duty, so he couldn't maintain the case. So he passed the client to me. The client hired me. And as I'm looking into it, I'm recognizing these names. And I recognize the alleged victim as the alleged victim from yet another case that I had. And in that case, the investigation was resolved favorably because I was able to present all of this evidence that impugned the character for truthfulness of that alleged victim. And some of that evidence included that she had in fact said, hey, I know how to get any leader removed from my supervision. I just file a sharp complaint. It's worked for me in the past. So needless to say, that client issue was resolved favorably. This one was also resolved favorably. But Zane, as a former soldier, you'll appreciate this. He was a National Guardsman, so they did his board procedure to try and revoke his federal status, right? His withdrawal of federal status. That was resolved favorably. They said retain him. Then I had to go back, get all of those board members to write separate statements about how they didn't think that the actual GOMAR that existed was supported by any evidence. Then I had to go back to the Mississippi National Guard. Mind you, this soldier's in the New York National Guard. I had to go back to the Mississippi National Guard that he deployed under, and they reconsidered the 15-6 and arrived at different conclusions and said, hey, the 15-6 that substantiated the GOMAR is no longer supportable by any evidence. Now you've got all that, and you would think the system would fix itself, right? Wrong. So the system still didn't fix itself, and we had to file special consideration back through the Department of the Army Suitability Evaluation Board, DASEB, and that is still pending. But it's got the concurrence of the New York TAG. It's sitting on the chief of the National Guard Bureau's desk, waiting for him to rubber stamp it. You can't do anything when you have objective reality saying there's no evidence to support that he did anything wrong. In fact, the greater weight of the evidence supports that he did everything right and that all of this was a lie.